Okay. Salam sejahtera to Bunchara and my friends. My name is Patraman Pillai. My matrix number is 01DDT20F1103.
My name is Nur Amiraus Nabinta Abdurrahim and my matrix number is 01DDT20F1026.
My name is Nurul Raja binti Hussein and my matric number is 01DDT20F4124. So today we are going to present about practical exercise 2, discovering mobile phone OS using virtual machine and emulator.
Continue with the virtual machine installation. So our group chose VirtualBox for the example of virtual machine. So before we start, I will explain a little bit about virtual machine. A virtual machine is a compute resource that uses software instead of physical computer to run programs and deploy apps. Virtual machine allow you to run an operating system in app window on your desktop that behave like a full separate computer. You can use template to play around with different operating systems, run software your main operating system cannot, and try out apps in a safe sandbox environment. So let's move on to the installation. So first of all, you need to open the virtualbox.org to download the installer from the VirtualBox. So click on download and we have Windows host. Click on the Windows host to install the VirtualBox. So now we will wait until the download is finished to proceed to the further step. After we finish install, click on the virtualbox.exe to continue the installation. Just click next, and here we can see the VirtualBox. If we want to customize it, we can, but I just click next, and here we also click next and proceed with the installation. Here just click install. And click finish after everything is finished install. We will launch the VirtualBox after it installed. So as you can see here, there's a few features, which is preferences, import, export, new, and add. So the first thing we need to do is click on new, so we can create a new virtual. So for example, we choose here for the Linux, and we choose the Ubuntu for 64-bit, and click next. This is you can customize it, but I'll just make it the default, which is 1024, and click next. And I'll click on the do not add a virtual hard disk because this is just a example, so I'll just use without hard disk. And just click continue, and we have create a new virtual, so we can run Linux on VirtualBox.
Now, in this section, we are going to demo steps to install the emulator. So, for the emulator, we decided to choose the BlueStacks since it's very simple and only takes a few steps to download and install it. But just making sure that before we download BlueStacks, you need to know that what types of BlueStack that you want. But in this video, we are going to download the BlueStacks 5. Before you install the BlueStacks 5, you need to make sure that your PC fulfills all the minimum requirement to run the emulator. So the first is, you need to make sure that your OS is Microsoft 7 and above, and your PC must have at least 4GB of RAM and a 5GB free disk space for HDD, and your processor can be either the Intel or AMD, and also you must be an admin on your PC and make sure that it is up-to-date graphics drivers from Microsoft or the chipset vendor. But honestly, I recommended that your OS is actually the Microsoft Windows 10, and the processor can be Intel or AMD multi-core processor. that with a single thread benchmark scored more than 1000, and the graphic could be Intel, NVIDIA, ATI, onboard or discrete controller with the benchmark score more than or equal to 750. Also, you need to have 8 GB RAM or higher, and the SSD or the future hybrid drives. And lastly, make sure that it is up to the graphic drivers from the Microsoft or the chipset vendor. So BlueStack is actually very easy to install because mostly all you need is small installer file, and then the software will do the rest for you, including the download necessary files and installing the emulator on your PC. So let's get started. First, you need to go to BlueStack website that you can find the link on the description below, and then just click the BlueStack installer. So once you have your installer downloaded, just double click on it and start the installation. So as I mentioned just now, the process is mostly automatic, but you can also select the install directory by clicking the customize button. But I'm not going to choose that, so just click on the install button. So now let's wait. So if you guys remember just now, there's another BlueStack that besides BlueStack 5, which is BlueStack X. Actually, both of them are pretty similar to each other, but unlike BlueStack 5, the X version is actually the AI-based hybrid cloud technology that intelligently provides the user for the best gameplay experience, which combines the light and the fast BlueStack 5 with the power of the mobile cloud. So, but you need to make sure that you have a really good internet connection if you're going to use it. So yeah, let's wait it until it finishes. Okay, now once you have installed the BlueStack 5, there's the one more step you need to do, which is the linking your Google account. This is necessary for accessing important services such as the Google Play Store, that you will be downloading most of it in there. So linking the Google account is very simple. You just need to go to setting and choose account and click add account, and then you just need put your Google user and the password. So just click on it. So yeah, now we'll be ready to start installing any apps on the BlueStacks. So let's go to the next section. Bye.
First, we will see about the difference between the virtual machine and the emulator. So in virtual machine may execute the code directly that's available in various languages, whereas in the emulator needs an interpreter to translate the source code. Next, when the virtual machine are reliable, it's quicker in their operation, whereas in emulator, they are competitively slower than virtual machine. The third difference is where the virtual machine solutions are constantly than the emulator, whereas in emulator, it is competitively cheaper than virtualization machine. And the last one, if you compare with the hardware, in virtual machine, hardware may be directly accessible, whereas in emulator, they need a software connector to access hardware. So next we will see a brief intro about why we are doing this mobile app testing. So in brief, mobile app testing is a process conducted to identify design issue, performance, obstacles and bug in the given app. Moreover, the best practice permits you to deliver the best software by testing its usability, functionality and consistency. And now we will have a QA section to know more about the emulator and virtual machine. So we will start with Najeha.
Yes.
So yeah, my first question is it safe to give your Google password on BlueStacks?
Okay, so in my opinion, yes, it is because you're doing it via the Google Auth, which keeps your password in the Google servers only, and it is like you are doing login inside the actual Google login interface only, and the Google login page needs to have some sorts of platform to open, which is BlueStacks in this case. And here you are not giving your password to the BlueStacks, and it will be remains in the Google only. So that's
So you can say it's safe to use lah.
yep.
Okay, so my second question is, does BlueStack make laptops slow?
Actually, it is because BlueStacks can slow down your laptop because it requires a lot of RAMs, and it is requires at least minimum 768 I think megabit on your system RAM. And if your system doesn't have enough RAM to allow the BlueStacks to run smoothly, it will hang up for sure. So make sure that your system has enough RAM. That will be enough, and try increasing the RAM in BlueStacks to make it faster and smoother. But RAM is not only the main thing, because CPU and graphic card are also important. So if your GPU or other requirements are low, that it might be slow down your laptop. So that's all for me.
Okay, thank you so much Najeha. That was a great explanation. And next we will move on to Amira to know about the virtual machine. So Amira, what runs inside a virtual machine?
So, virtual machine will run the program and deploy apps as the physical host machine, and it can run in different operating systems such as Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and others.
Okay. Second question is, what are the minimum system requirements for a virtual machine?
So usually it's 4 gigabit RAM and 4 gigabit hard drive and CPU core at least 8, but it's better to have at least have 16 gigabit RAM and bigger hard drive based on the amount of stored files.
Okay, thank you. So now coming to the end of the session, so I would like to ask your opinion, which one is the best between a virtual machine and emulator. So Najeha, in your opinion, which one do you think will you prefer to use?
So in my opinion, I would choose Emulator for testing the mobile application in the mobile application development, since it is faster and with less latency than the real devices that connected to the local network or in the cloud. So for example, like you can transfer the data faster to the emulator than to a device that connected over the USB. And after all, emulator is actually completely free, right? So all you need is to do is download the software and install it on your PC, and then you're ready to go. So that's all for me.
Okay, thank you. So Amira, in your opinion, which one will you prefer?
So I choose emulator because emulator is better for a beginner like us, student, and does not need a better spec for a laptop. So I choose emulator to test your mobile application in the mobile application development.
Okay, so as a conclusion, we can say that emulator is the best one where we can test to use in a mobile application, like Najeha said, because it has so many benefits and more compatible than virtual machines, such as it is very fast to use, it's free, and the spec is not so high, and it's very affordable and convenience for students. So as a conclusion, we can say that emulator is the best one to use. Thank you.